Um, my friend Fran, go ahead and unmute. Thank you for waiting patiently, Fran. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. Fran, you got until 1:38. Go ahead.
Okay. So I've heard a lot today, like just a lot, and I think there's a few things that really need touching. First of all, with regards to single black mothers, first of all, it outweighs heavily white single mothers. It heavily outweighs other minority groups, and I think that it's just really a self denial thing, and also a misunderstanding of statistical like representation, like how it's calculated, as to why you think that it's a woman's problem. It when I keep hearing both of you saying keep the same energy, well, guess what? It takes two to make a child, and no matter what you identify as, gender wise, whatever else, and an egg to make a child. And guess what? Both of you should be held equally accountable. So to say that women need to stop having children if they're not married, um, and I'm so sorry, I forgot basically Black Jesus' name, is just ridiculous. I'm so sick of people, specifically men with an inferiority complex, such as basically Black Jesus, who doesn't even like women who earn their own money, saying things like, oh, well, it's the woman's fault. Well, you know what? First of all, your pull-out game's weak as fuck. Second of all, let's not play that game. It takes two consulting and consensual adults to ultimately decide on having a child. But if the woman ends up pregnant and you run off, you're not a man, first of all. Second of all, you also, basically, like Jesus, associated aggression with masculinity, which is incredibly concerning because it means that you think it's directly correlated the way that you mentioned it previously. If you think masculinity is only based on someone's ability to assert aggression, that's quite concerning. But also, a woman expressing a fact and their belief in an assertive manner is not aggressive. It's literally, quite literally, by the definition, not aggressive. So that's another thing that I wanted to touch on. And then he followed that up by saying nobody has to suffer you being emotional to the lady who was on here prior. Guess what? Everyone has emotions. Everyone has progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone. How people express it may be different, but everyone's emotional, quite literally, because we all have different levels of the same hormones at different times. That's just how human biology works. Not sure if you passed high school, basic fact. Having emotions is not only, something that women have, men have emotions also. So let's not play that party. That was just like a disgusting comment and just so ridiculous. Just absurd. And then he also mentioned that like women set their own price. We're not a commodity. How you see a woman's value is absurd, frankly. Body count, etc. Like you should see yourself in the same way if you think that it's equal. And you also mentioned a few things that I've recently recognized. I don't know if I should say his full name. Yay. I don't want to say his full name because I don't want to get Noble to be banned, but he's spoken about openly on platforms, which are very concerning. You mentioned anti Semitic comments about who owns industries that Black people participate in. You mentioned things with regards to just women and their price, etc. And those are topics that he's recently spoken on. So perhaps now you can unmute, suggest perhaps where your influence for those ideas came from, because they're really absurdly aligned with things that he's recently spoken out about, and then perhaps justify it.
I, 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 I really feel like a lot of my points you kind of misrepresented. So yeah, women do have estrogen and progesterone. It
And they
drives.
also have testosterone.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
They also have testosterone, and as do men have estrogen and progesterone and testosterone.
Okay. Let me make the point just on that, and then you can respond. Okay. All right. So women have estrogen, progesterone. They get a ton of it when they cross the puberty line. They do have testosterone, but women have 20 times the amount of estrogen and progesterone men have. And what it's used for is maintaining the female reproductive system. It's what gives you the divine ability to create life. But one of the side effects of it is it drives emotional volatility, it drives anxiety and depression and neuroticism. Okay. And for guys, we have testosterone, 20 times the amount of it that a woman has. Okay. So, yes, we all have the same chemicals, but which are hormones, but completely different amounts of it, 20 times the amount.
I quite
And it
literally said
drives,
in my comment though.
let me finish real quick, just so you can understand what you were saying and what my response is to it. Men have 20 times the amount of testosterone, and testosterone drives aggression, libido, and competition, right? And so each one of us we're very different, right? We have equal value, but we are not equals. We're very different beings. So when she was yelling, okay, and going off, nobody has to put up with that being yelled at and somebody going off with on them. All right.
As
The
I
rest
said
of the
in my
hold on,
initial comment, we all
hold
have
on.
the same hormones in different levels at different times consistently.
That
That's
sounds good, but
humanity. We all have
ignoring.
different levels of all hormones at
That sounds
different
great. I don't want to
times.
go back and forth with you about it, but do you accept that the fact that a man has 20 times the amount of it that a woman does, and a woman has 20 times the amount of the other one, creates a completely different effect and kind of moots the point
I
that,
am
hey, we both have them.
personally not a doctor. I would have to ask one.
Yeah. All right. Well, you
I
asked
would
if
have
I
to ask
passed
about the
biology, and
specificities with like a
yeah,
doctor. However,
yeah.
as I said in my
You
initial
asked if
comment,
I
and I'm not about to
you
be
asked if I
gaslit,
passed.
I
Hold on.
said,
Go ahead.
pause,
Go ahead.
pause.
Go ahead.
I
Go ahead.
said we all have different levels of the same hormones, as in the three we just
Right.
mentioned,
That's.
at
mm,
different levels at different times. I didn't specify for a
I
reason
know. Well,
because it's very clear that men and women have different levels of each hormone, and it changes with a woman's cycle as well. So they're
it does,
always
but it
at
never
different
reaches
levels at
anything
different
close to a
times
man.
across humanity. So
All
what
right.
I said was in fact accurate, and
All right.
you
So,
basically
Fran.
felt the need to try and specify, which was inaccurate and unnecessary. But as I said, everyone has different levels at different times.
Fran, the reason I'm talking to you about the biology part is because I think you're an Australian woman.
Is because you're a doctor?
No, it's because you're an Australian woman, and the
Right.
rest of the conversation,
I'm not Australian, actually. See, this is the thing with presuming that
whatever,
you know things.
the rest of the conversation
Whatever.
has absolutely nothing to do with you. Nothing.
Okay,
So
so
no,
why specify it?
what?
Sorry, what you said you specified it because it has nothing to do with me?
Correct. Yeah. Yep.
That's
We're
hilarious.
talking.
That makes no sense. That literally makes no sense.
Are you in the black culture?
Yes. Just because I
Yeah.
don't sound American doesn't mean that I don't
Okay.
have
Well,
black
all right.
culture.
Well,
Noble, am I black?
Friend, you know what I always tell you about that.
yeah, not really. So in any event, I get
Excuse
what you're
me?
saying. Okay. I get what you're saying.
So the way
And
that you
this is,
can just
all
like
right. Yeah,
subside
I get
things.
it. You
Anyway,
threw a
that's
whole
not the
bunch of
question I
jabs to be
asked you
able to
to
dish it and
opine
take
on.
it. Hold on.
I actually asked you
Fran,
to opine on where your opinions were coming from on certain things that you otherwise
Fran,
mentioned.
Fran, do you understand how
I
big an
don't need you
effect
to
the difference?
clarify
Go
my
ahead.
understanding because you're not even a doctor.
All right. Well,
That
then if
wasn't
we're
what I
not going to
asked you
have a
to opine
conversation,
on.
then thank you for your time. If we're
That
not going to
wasn't what
have a
I asked you to
conversation, you
opine
just,
on.
okay. Thank you, Fran. Thank you. This has been
No,
great.
don't
Go
try and
ahead.
shut me down. That's not what I asked you
No,
to
whatever
opine
you
on.
else have to
I
say. I'm
asked
just
you to
being quiet
expand on the
myself. Go
fact that
ahead.
you were exaggerating and going above and beyond to kind of portray and perpetuate these ideals that Kanye had recently mentioned, which were obviously controversial on social media. And it seems like you've adopted them as though they're your personality.
All right, Fran. Um, saying that black people are the vast majority of the NFL is not racist. Saying that black people are the vast majority of the NBA is not racist. And saying that the music and movie industry is owned by a handful of Jewish families and that the majority of the folks who are in the executive tiers of those
That's not
industries
what
are
you
all
said.
Jewish is not anti-Semitic either. It's
That's not what
just
you
true.
said.
I get it.
You said
Do you?
there are Jewish people controlling
They do control it. They are in control of
people.
it. They own those
But
companies
the
and
way
they're
that you
the
said it was
executives.
incredibly negative,
No,
which
no, that's fine.
automatically.
That's fine. Now you understand. So let's move on.
No. Let me let you understand. When
No,
you
you're not
portray
checking
a
me about
certain
anything. I don't go
group
back and
as
forth with
having
people
a
like this. This is useless
negative
to me.
effect on another group
It
as a
doesn't.
result of
It
a
doesn't.
power
You're
play,
just. I'm
specifically
not
a
arguing with you about Jewish people.
marginalized and
I'm not arguing
incredibly
with you about Jewish
oppressed
people, friend.
group You
for the
make it
community.
anti-Semitic, and
Yeah, it's not
you can speak with me
anti-Semitic.
as much as you
It's
want, but
not.
the facts
It's
stand.
not anti-Semitic.
The,
It's
fa-
factual
the
information.
facts, the way that you said it was anti-Semitic, and that sounds and that's not okay. And
No,
it
no,
really
no.
does
I know.
relate to
So,
what Kanye recently said. But clearly, you get your personality off the internet. So, like,
all right,
let's
that
not
sounds
play
fine.
that
I don't want
game.
to. I'm not trying to have a diss contest with you, Fran.
What do they got to
I'm
So
do?
if
not
you don't
having a
have a point to
discontest.
make, then let's
I'm
move on.
stating a fact. The fact
No,
is that
I'm not.
you get
Listen,
your
listen,
opinions
babe.
off the internet the same way that you
I'm
said
What
that
is
42 years
black
old. I'm
women
not gonna argue with you.
have, they're
All right,
aggressive if they have
I'm
confidence
just
in
gonna
what they
mute up.
say.
Brothers,
Then
stop
you
talking to
chat
her.
on them for their fathers not being present instead saying, hey, why aren't the fathers present? And if you actually did any sociological or any research into any group within a major city, you say you spend a lot of time in Chicago, any research would tell you exactly why they're not present, but you don't want to hold them accountable. You love to talk about accountability, but you don't hold them accountable. How about you pause on the double standard and take a step back and take a broader look? You don't like that black women are the most educated group out of the race alone, but also in the United States. You don't like that they earn money, as you clearly said before, and that's why you supported the passport bros. But I'll tell you why
Nobody's
passport bros
saying
exist,
that.
because of the exchange rate. Because when you go to
You're
Thailand,
lying.
honey, you know damn well the dollar's worth
You're
more there.
lying. You're
And you know it
lying to
makes
make a
you look
point.
like you're rich, but the
Stop
second you bring them
Now,
back,
responding
it
to
turns
her.
into an episode of 90 Day
now
Fiance.
the
So do
psychosis
not
shows.
pull the bullshit. You can't
This is
pull the wool
old,
over people's eyes, okay?
and this
Because
is
we
what
know
men
damn
got to
well why
deal with.
you're a passport bro, because you don't have sufficient to support a woman
Just go and let
here.
it out. Get it
That's why.
out.
That's
Get out.
exactly why, because
Get your
you know damn
frustrations
well
out.
the exchange rate. But the funny thing is, you don't recognize that the US dollar has unfortunately, not to anyone in this chat's probably benefit, has been weakening over the past week. But you don't know a damn thing about markets, which is why you hop over abroad, you try and capitalize and arbitrage on the fact that you own a US dollar, and you try to impress these women, but you don't bring them back home. Why? Because you know damn well that what you can afford over there in whichever state, and it's not a bad thing that you can afford more there, but you know that it's giving a
Walmart does
false
it.
image of who you are. So don't sit here and pretend like black
We're
women
not
aren't
doing
shit or they don't know
anything
who they're
new. We're not
picking.
doing
They're
nothing
not
new.
picking you for a damn reason, and that's why you have to go
See,
elsewhere. You have to literally fly to find someone who
this is
wants you.
narcissism right here, man.
It's not narcissism, it's a fact. If you
You're
can look at
very
the exchange
narcissistic.
rate, it's a
You're
literal
very
fact.
narcissistic. You're literally throwing
I'm
jabs, but
narcissistic
nobody
because
can
I'm
throw
telling
jabs back
you
at you.
that the reason why you're so excited
That's
about buying a
narcissistic.
farm in another nation is
Just,
easier for you. You
just
can't afford a
stop
farm here. That's
It's not working.
why. Because
You
if you
need,
can afford a farm here, you know
man,
damn well that you're the backbone of the society, but you can't afford one here. That's why you go abroad and buy one. That's what you
what are
mentioned
you talking
earlier. And you
about?
shat on black women for earning more money. Guess what? If you can't afford a
They're
black
not
woman,
earning more
don't
money.
hate them for not being able to like sink down to what you expect of them. Don't shit on them for that. They work damn hard. They worked so hard to enable the rights of other groups before themselves. They were literally
Do
the
you have a
last group
father,
to get the
friend?
goddamn vote, and you're sat here
Noble, how much
shitting
longer
on
are you gonna
them.
let this go
Really?
on, man? It's getting late,
Friend,
bro.
did you have a daddy growing up?
Yes, I do, and I still best friends with my fucking dad. My parents are still fucking married.
So if your dad saw you acting like this, would he be like, you need to cool down?
He would tell me that I'm goddamn correct, and he was glad he paid for my
Correct
motherfucking
about
education
what? You're
because it
making up
shows
lies.
me.
You're just spewing out information. You don't know nothing
But
about
see,
Black
here's the
Jesus
thing.
or
You're
me.
saying I'm spewing out
You don't know
information,
nothing
which
about us.
implies that it is automatically correct, and then you're saying, oh, well, you're spewing it out. Well,
Drew,
guess
you
what? If
got
you
to just let
can't
her finish. You got
handle
to let her
the
run out of steam, bro.
information,
Just let her
Google
talk
it.
until
You
she
have a
runs out of
Yeah,
laptop,
steam.
you
because you
have
keep
a
She
phone.
got a
feeding
lot of
her
pent
every
up
time you
frustration.
respond
She
to
can
her.
go
You
all day
feed
if we
her.
let her.
The way that y'all shit on black women the second they have something factual to say that doesn't agree with y'all is ridiculous. Ridiculous. There is nothing wrong with a woman, let alone a black woman, educating herself, which, you know, Black Jesus said it was wrong for them to do it in their 20s. When else are they meant to do it? When else are they meant to start earning a hefty income? It's up to them. And if they choose to do so to make themselves comfortable and to make themselves feel safe in their own environment, in their own comfortable home, that's up to them. And if they don't pick you, don't become a pick me abroad. That's it. Like, it's
Thank
ridiculous
you,
that you
friend.
keep shitting on women, especially a minority group who's risen above and beyond and fought for everyone else's rights, to shit on them because they're doing well. Noble himself has other sisters doing incredibly well. Is he shitting on them? No. They're doing good for themselves. Whether we recognize why or like what like innately drives us to do well doesn't really matter because we're just here to live, do our best, Also, thank you for the love, hot hands. To live to our best. And that's about it. But the way that y'all like victimize yourselves as a result of women doing well is just like it's frankly it's kind of pathetic.
Friend, thank you so much. You know it's always love. I always appreciate you. You have a great day, all right, friend?
Have a good rest of your week, Noble.
All right.